Okay, we're ready to go.
All right. Welcome everyone to this Milburn Elementary School, Milburn School District. We're going to start with a budget meeting for fiscal year 2023. So if you want to start with the presentation.
Okay. Could you please pull up the business office report?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. And then scroll down to page 2, please. Okay, so the presentation here is basically just really highlighting the differences between the tentative budget that we reviewed or discussed on August 22nd and what has changed since then. And to be honest, it's not a lot, but it's worth pointing out. So what I did was, in the original tentative budget presentation, I had a couple snippets or I guess screenshots from the actual budget document that we will be submitting to the state. This is one of them. So if you recall, back in August, we talked about a deficit budget, and the state only looks at 4 of the 9 funds when it's determining whether or not there's deficit budget. So it's education, O&M, transportation, working cash fund. So this is from August 22nd. We saw there was a balanced budget, if you will. No deficit reduction plan is required. Since August 22nd, we have added an additional special ed student. We talked about that during the last board meeting, so we knew that that was going to be an increase of about $40,000 in tuition that comes out of Fund 10, so that reduces the 94. And since then, additionally, there was a slight increase in some supplies, about $1,000. But another thing that we're seeing this year, and this is a good thing. We're getting back to normal after COVID. We're going on field trips again, the big ones. Springfield, Camp Timberley. So if you could just scroll down a little bit. When we take into account those fees, and I'll get into it a little bit more, the difference between our revenues and our expenditures within Fund 10 goes down to $18,000. So it's really tight for the year. So that means if there's something unexpected, like remember that water bill in last December, the $11,000 unexpected water bill, something like that will really push us into a deficit essentially. But not all is bad. So if we can just scroll down a little bit further, and this is in the business office report that's attached to the regular board meeting agenda, but this basically explains the difference in expenditures and revenues in Fund 10. So after learning about Camp Timberley and the 8th grade field trip to Springfield, I was able to plug in the field trip expenditures as well as the revenue that we expect to get. So we know the reason we're also seeing this decrease in Fund 10 is that we cover the field trip fees for our fee waive students. So that's going to be around $8,000. So it's reducing our Fund 10 by that amount as well.
But that still leaves us with the 18. That's
Yes.
not on top. Okay.
Right. Yep. So that gets us to the 18,000 that we saw on the table above. Revenue decreases to one other thing. I estimated a bit high on what our CEDAL revenue would be for the rooms. Since the August 22nd meeting, I've obtained a spreadsheet that better, I guess, estimates the CEDAL revenue that we'll be getting. So there's a decrease there. And then if you can scroll to the next page. So I have 2 tables here too. So we have the revenues, expenses, the surpluses and deficits for the budget that was on public display in August. And I think the thing to point out at this table and the one we'll see next really is the education row and the IMRF row. You'll see differences there. So obviously, based off of what we just talked about with the changes to Fund 10, this $10,000, if you can scroll down just a little bit more, Jason, it becomes a deficit for the year. And part of the reason for this too is we see in the transfers column, what are those transfers? Those are our Apple iPad lease. So we pay it out of Fund 10 debt service every year, and then we transfer the money from the education fund to debt service after it's paid. So that's why it looks like there's a higher deficit than there really is in Fund 10. In IMRF, it actually looks like an increase, and that's because of something called corporate personal property replacement tax. So for those of you who don't know what that is, back in the 70s, the Illinois Constitution changed to remove personal property taxes. And what ended up happening at that time, long story short, within that same decade, the state came up with a formula that would essentially give government bodies a replacement tax to cover that lost revenue. So the reason there's an increase here is because since August, I obtained the estimate from the state of what that replacement tax would be, and it was higher than what I was estimating. So this doesn't look the greatest, but if we go down to the next page, this is, and it will probably be somewhat hard to see. This is a snippet of the overall budget page from the budget that will eventually get submitted to the state, and you'll see that there are positive numbers across because we have balances there that we're carrying over from the previous year. But the thing I would point out here within funds 10, 20, 40, this year we're going to be dipping into those balances. So like under Fund 10, as of right now, we'll probably see if everything goes according to the budget, a decrease of $50,000. Under Fund 10, a decrease of $18,000, and under Fund 40, a decrease of $80,000. So again, what this means to me is this is very tight, and so what I want to do for the upcoming months is start running some more detailed cash flow reports and providing those to you so that you can see, money coming in and out. But I also want to really look into or staying on top of any place where we might see a pattern where we can maybe jump in and see if there's a way to tighten our belt a little bit more. Any questions?
So, and this is kind of going to be a compounding thing, right? We kind of know that like this trend is going to continue, do you think, or?
I mean, possibly. So we had some bigger expenses that we knew we were going to incur this year. So, for example, a big one would be the increase in healthcare costs. We, saw that coming with that 11% increase. Mm-hmm. If that happens again, we'll continue to see a heavy hit to fund. It would be basically funds 10, primarily 10 or 20 and 40.
Okay, because we pay healthcare for transportation.
We pay healthcare. We pay a portion of healthcare for all staff.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was just one example. But as we continue to see, increases in compensation, and, you know, everyone is working so hard and entitled to it, so I'm not challenging that, but those are places where, you know, a good chunk of our budget, I think it's 70% is going to, compensation and benefits. That's where we see the biggest hits.
Anybody, any more questions? Does the public have any questions? So we didn't have anything, a motion, we adjourn our public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
All right. Now we proceed to our regular Board of Education meeting. So if we can have a roll call, please.
Ms. Boss,
Present?
Mr. Coleman, Mr. Gouziak.
Here.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Here.
Mr. Murphy,
Here.
Mr. Pederini,
Present.
Ms. Roberts.
Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I assume you don't have any new public comments. Does anyone have any additions, non-action items?
Would we be able to discuss or maybe cover what's going on with all of our vehicles and catalytic converters, things of the such?
Sure, we can add that into the information discussion area. If we have.
Thank you.
Adopt the fiscal year 2023 budget. So we've seen the budget. I hope there's no new questions. If there are. Do we have a motion on the budget?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 fiscal year budget as presented.
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Boss,
Yes.
Mr. Gouziak,
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pederini,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts. The motion passed.
Approval of the MOU for the mentor stipend. You guys have anything you want to say about that? or-
Nope, we've had a couple opportunities to look at it, and it is already planned in the budget. It's a cleanup from our last negotiations.
Does anybody have questions on
I move to approve the MOU for the mentor stipend.
roll call, please?
Ms. Roberts. Yes. Ms. Boss,
Yes.
Mr. Gouziak,
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pederini,
Yes.
the motion passed.
The approval of the PRSP of Lake County Federation of Teachers Work Uniforms, MOU.
So again, we've had a couple opportunities to talk about this. This is not adding any money to the budget, but it is providing some language flexibility for different purchases of different types of uniforms. We had a very tight definition before, and now we're expanding that definition to give people what they need.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the PSRP of the Lake County Federation of Teachers Work Uniforms Memorandum of Understanding.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Pederini,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Boss,
Yes.
Mr. Buziak,
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
the motion passed.
Public Act 097-0609 salary and benefits report.
Okay, this is something that by law we have to post on our website every year, and the board has to approve it for posting. I don't know what you're approving that you couldn't approve, you have to do it by law, but, it's a formality to make sure that everybody gets the information. We're totally transparent, so
And it's only people over 75.
only people over 75,000, yes.
Does anyone have questions on this? Can we have a motion on that?
I'll move that we approve the Public Act 097-0609 salary and benefits report.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pederini,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Boss,
Yes.
Mr. Buziak,
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Yes.
the motion passed.
This we really do need a roll call, but, does anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda? No? Okay. Can we have a motion on
I have a
Sorry,
question.
yes, sir.
Regarding the administrative assistant to the MES principal.
Yeah.
That doesn't normally come open. Do we know what happened there?
Yes, she resigned.
All right. Yeah, I don't think we get much more information, I guess.
Okay.
All right. Can we have a motion on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as listed on the Board of Education notes.
Second.
So we have to do a roll call on this one.
Mr. Lorenzen,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Pederini,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Boss,
Yes.
Mr. Buziak,
Yes.
the motion passed.
Information and discussion. I think Sean had a bunch of stuff on the school resource officer, and he is not here tonight, so does anybody else have anything else they wanna bring up? We were gonna try and do a special night on that, just so we could have the time on
I was
it.
gonna say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when are we projecting to have the representatives of the two departments here?
I don't know. I've not contacted either one of them yet.
Okay.
What, could I get a little bit of what you're expecting or what you're looking for, so when I talk to them, they know what you wanna hear, what you're expecting from them?
I think maybe a presentation of the response for if we had, a active shooter or some kind of need for that. Just the protocols, what it would look like, what are the, what we saw in Uvalde, why is that not gonna happen here, things like that.
And if there was additional things that, a lot of times those SROs fulfill other duties, or they do training on top of that, are there other things that they would be able to do while they're here?
Or, on the other hand, would we want to limit what they're actually doing here. That was another part of
Yeah,
the
that's right, that
discussion.
was the other point.
Yeah. So I guess, how would, if this
Their
were to happen, how
expectations.
would it be tailored?
Mhm.
If we had an SRO here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would think they might not necessarily have data on shooting incidents, but data in general, if they are SROs at other schools, just on in-school incidents, you know, that maybe they're attending to any type of data that they may have or experience, I think would probably answer a lot of our questions.
And that would probably be the sheriff's department more than anything. Right, because Lindenhurst has one school, or two. Three, two. It's got two. We've got Hooper and us.
Yep.
So there's probably not a big sample size there for things going on.
Especially what benefit they have, what they're doing for us, and any data on how it would improve safety and anything else in the school.
Maybe how to fund it. with the
Yeah.
Presentation we just had.
Yeah.
In talking to that, it's more about how to hire.
Well, but yeah, but that, I mean, that could be something you guys, obviously, you
Do they know
guys
of any sort of
focus on.
grants or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Groups or whatever, might. Yeah. Okay.
And this would just be for the board?
I think so,
Yeah.
I would think so.
for a candid conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anything else in there? District superintendent goals.
All right. So
I'm excited about this.
I'm very excited.
We can log in now, that's cool.
Yes. I went back after the last meeting and reworked the goals a little bit. There's 4, so I want to read them and see if we can get, if I can get a nod tonight that this is okay, so we can close them out, so I can move on to the next steps and start to generate some stuff for 'em, like how to meet them. First goal, student achievement. All students show growth on NWA in reading and math during the 22-23 school year. The district conditional growth index will increase from 52.75 to 55.6 in math and 41.4 to 46.6 in reading. That one's pretty clear, easy,
Yeah.
measurable,
Mhm.
succinct, right?
Is it doable?
Is it doable? I think so.
Okay.
Will it happen? I don't know.
Well, no, that's,
Okay.
that was different.
That's a different
I mean,
question.
Okay, is it feasible?
It's feasible.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, that's an example of something, of a good goal. You know exactly what the numbers are and, okay.
Okay. Goal 2, building connections. Understanding the value of creating a strong parent voice in the educational process of children. The superintendent will create a system of regular parent focus groups to gather feedback from parents on school district performance and issues. A final summary report of the system's group's feedback and opportunities will be provided in a report in May of 2023. For what?
Thought exchange?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could use Thought Exchange for that.
How
But
many
it's
times would you
focused.
do it?
Hmm?
The first part of it, when you were saying, I'm sorry,
System of regular parent focus groups
Yeah.
to gather feedback.
how many focus groups?
I don't know.
Do you think there might be 2?
I think it would depend on the response. of
Yeah.
Parents that are actually willing to
Community.
Mm.
get involved.
And the issue that,
Mm-hmm.
You can't really send it
No.
over until you
Yeah.
have.
there's some issues that parents just don't care about, there's some issues that parents will grab their knives and pitchforks.
Well, there's issues that we can't even, might even,
Yeah, but
sometimes
see,
you have a flare up and
Yeah.
it's good to address it right away, but we don't know what that will be.
but see, that's okay. If you say you're going to do two, and you try to do them, and no one shows up, you still,
Still good.
Yeah,
You
you
still
still
did
try, yeah.
And
Are
we
you
can
wanting to
go back
make
and
a-
say, why didn't some people
Do you
show
wanna
up
have
for
him
the
add
next-
like a quantitative?
yeah. I mean, I just threw the number of two out there. I mean, if it's one, it's one, and if people show up, which we hope that they would, that's great. And if it's only a couple board members that are sitting there, I mean, you know, it sounds a little cheesy, but I mean, you made the goal. I mean, you made the attempt. You
Yeah.
can't be responsible for who shows up.
Yeah, but quantifying it by putting a set number on it infers that it's going to start and then it's going to stop. By wording it this way, it gives the inference that it's going to be a continuous process.
Like the system portion of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's going to continue growing and developing as dependent on parental involvement and their voice. I would personally, I don't think it should have a quantified number associated with it. I think it should just be a rolling.
Or maybe a minimum,
I was gonna say,
but
maybe
no
a minimum,
maximum.
you know,
Like a
no
minimum
maximum.
once what do you want, trimesters here at this school? Like 3, you know, meet once a trimester, or whatever. How many thought exchanges do you put out?
But let's say try to meet.
6 or 7.
Again,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you can throw a party, and if no one shows up, I mean, you still have a
Yeah,
party. I guess.
yeah.
That can be the goal for next year. If nobody shows up, how do we increase participation?
Mm-hmm.
This
Right.
year is start the groups and get people used to, hopefully this will be a thing that, will be an ongoing thing. Getting
Yeah.
parents involved and coming in and talking.
Yeah,
If I were in your chair, Jason, I think I would try to put some kind of a number on that, because otherwise, you just, it's
Are
more
you,
of a feeling.
you're gonna add a number to systems, or you're gonna add a number to focus
Groups?
groups?
yeah, like maybe regular parent focus groups, a minimum of 2, or something like that, or 2 is the,
and you could just say.
whatever the
A
baseline.
minimum.
Yeah, minimum, no maximum,
maximum,
because
but a
there's
minimum.
issues that
Yeah.
come up. I mean, whatever people think, I just threw 2 out there, I don't,
That's what I did, I threw 2 out there,
I think that's,
could be
I mean, if
one.
you have 2 and it's successful, you're gonna do 3.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
But at least, if you want a
Things come
number,
up.
yeah.
it's a good.
And in January, we get to revisit it, midpoint check-in.
Mhm.
So you would have to do 2 between now and January?
No, no, no.
Oh,
But
okay.
you can do one
This
between
school
now and
year,
January.
yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
1 or maybe
yeah.
none, but at least we have
Got
to
it.
think about it. Say,
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't do this, or
Yeah,
maybe 2 is too low.
as soon as you hit November, it's over,
Yeah,
you know,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I-
So these could be thought exchange, they could be in person, they could be Zoom, they could be any,
Yeah.
I mean, Zoom, you're gonna get, I thought you'd get more participation, people are so busy, like carving out a half hour, dinner's cooking, the kids are doing this, I'm gonna sit down and do this, it's different than leaving the house.
right.
You can't have dinner
Going somewhere.
cooking, I think I know it's not as dynamic,
Yeah.
but I think you may see
offer a hybrid,
increased,
Right,
offer a hybrid,
what?
yeah,
offer a hybrid.
Or hybrid, yeah.
yeah,
okay.
that'd be nice.
Not a hybrid, but maybe 2.
Yeah.
One could be live and one could
No.
be virtual.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, wouldn't we just say it doesn't matter as long as there are 2 attempts to reach out, or 1?
We're good with a minimum of 2 expectations, are we good with it?
Yes.
Yeah,
All
All right, check.
Let's move on.
All right, 3. Continuing on, building connections. Understanding the vision of creating an environment where all students, families, and staff wholeheartedly feel like they belong and add value to the Millburn community. Professional development opportunities to increase cultural competency will be provided for staff during the 22-23 school year. A final summary of activities will be presented to the board in May of 2023.
Multiple opportunities.
Understanding the vision of creating an environment.
At least 1 opportunity for professional.
Well, we've already got 2 planned, so. Two
well,
two are
then you
planned.
made it. Trying to help you out here, Jason.
One's a little low.
Okay, all right, so,
One starts Thursday.
okay, is that, and again, I apologize, I can't see a damn thing from here, but do you have two in there? Are you saying that?
No,
there's
I
two?
don't have any.
Yeah, he has no numbers.
Classified.
But they're,
it's
you
not
know they're going to
necessary.
have multiple professional development opportunities throughout the year. We see it when we approve the calendar that they're required
Yeah.
by state law to have professional development opportunities.
Oh, yeah, professional development for sure.
You want
Yeah,
us
that
to put a
one's
number
more-
in there?
That one's more of a gray area, I guess, but again, where I come from, it's all numbers.
When we say
Actually, we already have three planned.
create an environment where all students, families, and staff will hardly feel like they belong. We're pulling that from our vision statement.
That's
Okay.
mission statement, bullet point, right there.
Yeah, that's strong. I like the way it connects. And gives a little more details, you know, kind of with the cultural competency, making that as specific. I like this goal. It's flexible, but it's specific.
Okay.
Is there a good?
Good.
Number 4, I picked up last time about managing resources. I think this is what we talked about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially considering
Earlier.
where we're at. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Responsibly steward resources to ensure that decisions are aligned to the strategic plan and that decisions about programs, practices, and curricula are research-based and use a defined evaluation process. This will be evidenced through board reports and the documentation through the budgeting process, proposal process, and regular reporting. A final summary report will be presented in May of 2023.
We have a budgeting process and proposal process and reporting, well, those two written out somewhere?
Our
Or
budgeting
is-
process is written out. Carly does a great
Yeah.
job of that. Steve did a great job of that, of saying, okay, this is this is this, and it's follows the state law. So there's that
Mhm.
piece. So
Yeah.
that one's pretty tight.
This, I think, I like this though, is saying that like, cause you, in the end, when we talk about like the audience and the dancers or
Yeah.
performers or whatever, like, that's, we're to keep you accountable, but you're the one who is steering the programs and practices to the plan. So I think that kind of defines those two roles well.
But to me, this is a communication. It goes back to communication about what's happening and whether it's budget or anything that impacts the budget. That's a change, other than status quo, needs to be communicated. And we do have a board policy on, like curriculum proposals and things like that.
You good with this one?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Again, if it turns out it's not specific enough in January, we can revisit, or sooner. It's okay, but this is enough, we'll try it, and
Sounds good.
if it doesn't work, we can adjust, but hopefully you guys will have access to all this, so you can tell me along the way, like, hey,
Yeah, they do a decent tutor, like, when you first
Yeah.
log in the first time, they have the different numbers and kind of show you
it's not,
around it.
it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty,
it's pretty
seems pretty intuitive. And then, on the dashboard, you're the only drop-down.
Yep.
Yeah.
You only get to evaluate me.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying, for privacy reasons.
Yeah.
That'll be, yeah.
Sounds like we're good with these.
Okay.
Do you have anything on the vehicles that you'd like
Do we have what, vehicles?
On the vehicles.
So, yeah, both of our trucks both of our pickups have been hit with, catalytic converter thefts, and they're very good and they're very efficient and very quick. This is happening not just at our school, this is all over the county, state, world, neighborhoods. There's no place that's too safe. It's happened in, place here in Dulles, they do it in a parking lot while you go into Walmart, come out there. It's gone, they're so fast. But we have taken steps, and I won't get specific about those steps and let everybody know what our secret sauce is. But we're taking steps to try to make it more difficult for them to take them. The truck at the other school is okay. I mean, we just put a straight pipe on it to put
That's the one
gas.
that's falling apart.
That's the one that's falling apart. A catalytic converter would cost more than what the truck is worth, so. That one, until we have to go get it, exhaust done, is fine. And we don't put very many miles on our trucks, it's just basically between buildings and Menards and then plowing, so. We're good there. With the other one, we're gonna try to, create a space in one of the garages if we can, we'll put it in a location that makes it a little bit more difficult. What's sad is that we park it under a light on purpose. Park it in a place where you can kind of see video. These guys.
2 minutes of video and
I
they beat it.
Yeah, yeah.
I did by chance watch a video on catalytic converter, theft prevention devices.
Yeah.
They don't work.
No.
Oh, really?
Jim shared
I was thinking
shared
about
one
that.
today that looks pretty
Uh,
intense.
There was, but the one they said was just break up some pieces of rebar and just weld a cage
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's what I sent.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which is.
Yeah.
So that wasn't one that you buy. The ones you buy, those didn't work.
Yeah,
But
I would imagine not.
what,
Can the trucks be parked outside near the rental house?
They can.
You would think that there would be
Concern.
less of a chance that they would want to make noise by a house where somebody's living.
Yeah, that's possible. That may or may not be part of our plan.
Okay, Inspector Gadget.
find some garage space?
And then someone. And what about the buses?
Keep welding.
Do they do that from the buses? They take them from those too?
We're looking to add more outdoor cameras eventually, if it's possible.
Yeah.
Guard dogs, raise wire.
Yeah, hook a line up to the battery that goes down there when they try to give them a jolt.
Well, Home Alone there.
How many buses do we have?
19?
20.
20?
20. Wow. That's a concern. Do we know if other buses have been getting hit, other schools, private companies? They have been. Wow.
It must be a little tougher to do, but
Mostly
it
what?
must be a little tougher to do because we haven't got, it's not rampant.
Well, they said higher, you would think they'd be easier.
Probably harder to aftermarket though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To try and flip it would be
Okay,
harder.
sure.
Oh,
Yeah, you wanna convert it?
right, they're,
A little bit bigger.
but that's all black market, they're not going through legitimate channels.
Well, I know, but I mean, like, but who's buying bus
Oh.
converters on the black market?
That's the point, there's not as much of a demand for school bus.
Unless,
No,
But
I disagree.
recycling, because they've got precious metals in them.
Yeah,
The
they want the
recycling
platinum.
elements are
places.
the same, they're, whatever it comes out of, it doesn't matter, they're not going to legitimate, junkyards
Right, right.
to get rid of these things. So whatever they can come off of,
Now, I
I mean,
wish
hell,
they
they took
would.
one out of a, 20-year-old rusty truck.
I wish they would put it in a junkyard so we can rebuy it, cause.
Well,
Yeah.
right. Huh. Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, but hopefully we'll do all that we can.
Thanks for the update.
All right, future agenda items, board policies, district goals, position statements, review of closed session minutes, and update of succession of authority plan. Superintendent's report?
24-hour challenge was on Friday and no major incidents. Everybody was safe, which is good. Sweet relief for me every year. But yeah, it's a great event. I think a lot of people appreciated it. It was fun to see parents who had never seen it or heard of it before walk in and go, "Whoa, this is awesome!" So it was fun. Yeah, that's about all I have to report. Fall sports are wrapping up with some of their tournaments this week. Cross-country sectionals, I believe, is probably Saturday, and then the following Saturday would be state. And I believe, depending on if the girls are healthy, they'll do some good work. And I think the boys are a strong team as well, so that's good. Keep it going, and then both schools are doing a lot of great work with professional learning communities and with different activities academically too. And it's really good to be focused and walk in on meetings where we're talking about student academic and not whether or not we need to wear masks or get shots or who's in and who's out and how many days of quarantine. We're really talking about academic learning again, which is wonderful. So that's great. Good things happening in both schools on that, and I'm sure the principals will report out when they get a chance to do that at a board meeting in the near future. So that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Business office.
So I think we've covered just about everything already, except for this first bulleted item. So last week we had our annual financial and internal control audit. Typically it's done in the summer. This year our auditor asked to do it in September, but it went really well. So well, the auditor said it went so well, we're not coming back Friday. They were supposed to be here Monday through Friday. So they got through the majority of everything by Thursday. They are conducting a single audit. So a single audit is basically an additional deep dive into our numbers, since we have over $750,000 in expenditures from federal funds essentially. So this year they're looking at ESSERS 3 and child nutrition. But again, so far everything is going well. I mean, they'll still have some final wrap-up questions over the next couple of weeks, but overall it was really good. And that is it.
Thank you.
That's budget stuff.
Board members, anybody have a report?
I did 2 events. Woohoo! I went to the Milburn Epic event. It was kind of fun. We went, hung out, talked with some of the parents that went to that. Had a little hayride, and it was kind of fun. Second, I went to the 24-hour challenge with my eldest being in 6th grade. My eyes were open to it. I have to compliment the middle school. I was talking with my daughter, and she's like, Dad, don't worry about it. Anyone can come. Just stop by. Bring me my stuff. And I'm here in our board meetings. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're talking about having student resource officers, and everyone can just walk in and drop stuff off. How is this going to work? So I'd like to pay a compliment to the middle school for doing a wonderful job. They contained the space, which I did not get out of my sixth grader, but they were able to contain the space, and they had a secure entry and exit point, so everyone was safe at the event. So they did a really good job.
That's a really special thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We can thank Lindenhurst Village let us borrow their fencing.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
plastic
Yeah.
barricades, and they're very helpful. And they supplied
They
police
delivered it.
officer.
And picked it up.
They picked it up already?
That's awesome. Way to serve the
They
community.
delivered it and
That's
picked it up.
great.
Well, it's ready for pickup. I don't know if they came yet today or not, but they'll pick it up this week. So it's one thing that our custodians don't have to do, as far as getting it to us.
Yeah.
So not only did they let us use it, they also.
I know, I'd like to send them a thank you. That was the Lindenhurst Police Department.
Oh, thanks, Vanessa.
Anybody else?
And the village.
So one of my scouts is building a Gaga pit. So, yeah, a big one, I guess, and it's ADA compliant and everything like that. So he, his flyer's been on the messages that the principals send out, and he raised a bunch of money on GoFundMe, along with some other stuff. So, we should be purchasing that, and we'll be putting it together probably in a couple of weeks, I think.
That's awesome.
All right. Make a motion to adjourn to closed session for number one, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body, or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act. We have a second on that.
Second. You're not
roll-
repeating that though.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Boss?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman is absent. Mr. Buziak?
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pederini?
Yes.
Ms. Roberts? The board enters into closed session at 7:49 p.m.
And if you're online, when we come back, we're just gonna adjourn.